Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regularly scheduled council meeting for the municipality of Thames Centre. The date is Monday, February the 12th, 2024, and we're located in the municipal office council chambers at 4305 Hamilton Road in the village of Dorchester. The time is 5:01 p.m., and I'm calling this meeting to order. I've been advised that there are no additions to the agenda. So may I have a mover to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting? Councillor Heeman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Smybert. All in favor? That Kath. The next item on the agenda then is the disclosure of pecuniary interest from any member of council. Seeing none. Announcements? Yes, I do. Actually, I'd like everyone to know that tomorrow, February the 13th, is Agriculture Day in Canada, and a perfect opportunity for us as Canadians to recognize and celebrate the great work that farmers do to produce the food we all enjoy, and to recognize the contributions of the industry in Canada's overall prosperity. As a council and a rural municipality, we encourage you to do something that supports your local farmers, whether that be making a purchase of a locally produced food item or spreading the word with hashtag @CanadaDayAg. Then that's @CDN, capital AG Day. And for council, as a way of celebrating and promoting the day in Canada, we'll be visiting a local dairy in the area, Misty Glen, tomorrow morning. Thank you. That's it for announcements. And we have no presentations or delegations this evening, so I'm looking for a motion to adopt the minutes of the council meeting of January 29th. A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Crockett, and seconded by Councillor Lockie. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Number 8 on is the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are received for information in one motion. Council members may request that one or more items be separated for further action. Do I have a mover for the recommended motion as appended to the agenda? Deputy Mayor Smybert, and seconded by Councillor Crockett. All in favor? That motion carries. Thank you. All right, we'll move on now to reports of departments. The first one is CAO-001-24, the Municipality of Thames Centre's organizational core values, and I'll ask Mr. Barrett to present.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Mayor. I'm delighted to be able to share with council and the public the work that staff have done to build their organizational core values. This is something that is not unusual for many organizations and their internal staff teams to have a list of demonstrated core values. In this instance, staff have gone through this process organically and internally through several surveys and consultations. Our HR advisor, Annika Peter, is here as well to answer any questions you may have on that. But you can see before you the list of what's come up in terms of shared values as an organization, certainly from a staff perspective, but happy to share with council for your consideration and endorsement and any feedback you may have. You can see them there, but I'll just read them out high level. Each of them is listed with a specific meaning, and I'll get into why that's necessary. But the core values as developed by the corporation include compassion, integrity, continuous improvement, inclusivity, and communication. And why these are important as well is we're actually going to be embedding these into the performance review process for staff in terms of how staff are demonstrating these core values as developed by them. And so overarchingly, and as listed in the cover report for your consideration, is that this strengthens the team to be able to deliver for council's strategic plan and deliverables, and strengthens the team for a greater level of alignment in customer service in relation to delivering a high level of service for the community. So you have this here before you, and happy to take any questions you may have or no feedback you may have.
Thanks, Mr. Barrick. Any questions or comments from the members of council? No? Pretty straightforward. Tom?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this forward, and thank you to staff for putting so much thought into these core values. And I'd be happy to endorse them, and I think that they really reflect the values of this council as well. And you know, if these could be our core values, I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
Thank you. Someone else with a comment? Councillor Lockie.
Thank you. Through your worship, through the CEO, I think this is fantastic also. And I was just kind of curious, you know, was it driven by like all the senior leaders? Or yeah, just curious who is involved with creating this?
Through the mayor, thank you, Councillor, for your question. It's a great question. So although it's an initiative from the Office of the CAO, so myself, HR and Communications, it really was developed, as I stated, organically through a series of very comprehensive survey, follow-up survey, and then distributing the draft to all staff for their feedback, culminating in a senior management team meeting last week, where we had the final feedback and resulting in the piece that you have before you today. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, the recommended motion before you is that report number CAO-001-24 be received for information, and that council endorse the Thames Center organizational core values as attached. A mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Heeman and seconded by Deputy Mayor Smybert. All in favor? Thanks. Motion carries. Turn the next one over to the clerk, Jana Nethercott, to present regarding item LS-C-003-24 marriage solemnization.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we've had a few requests for staff to perform marriage ceremonies, both on-site and off-site. I've performed them in the past. We do have the deputy clerk who's also interested in possibly performing them. It is an opportunity to obtain some more funds for the Legislative Services Office, because we don't actually have a lot of availability to bring in funds to help offset some of our costs, and it's quite a good service to offer our residents. So it's pretty simple. Council just needs to agree to opt in, and under the Marriage Act, municipal clerks and or deputized clerks can solemnize marriages.
Good. Sounds like a great initiative. Anyone with a comment? Deputy Mayor Smybert.
Yes, I want to thank staff. I was really quite happy to see this land on our agenda. It's a service that other municipalities do provide, and it's not a cost to provide this service. It's actually a revenue generator. So I fully support the recommendation.
Anyone else? Okay. So are you moving that?
I will move that. Thank you.
Okey-dokey, a seconder. Councillor Lockie, all in favor? All right, good. That carries. Thanks. The next one is also for the clerk. Item 9.3 on your agenda, LS-C-004-24, parking and traffic bylaw updates. Go ahead whenever ready.
So this is initiative from staff and a previous meeting of council where we amended the traffic and parking bylaw and stated that staff would do a review and bring it back, as it had not had a comprehensive review done since 2017. So myself, Director of Public Works and Bylaw Enforcement, went through the bylaw and we've done a fairly comprehensive review. There are a few significant amendments, some of them were more technical, such as, authorities and things in the body of the bylaw. The most significant amendment we made was we are proposing to allow overnight parking from May 1st to October 31st. It will mirror the City of London, and it actually mirrors what's generally been enforced in the municipality for the past few years. I think it actually makes quite a good sense to everyone. So we're proposing that change. We also are adding the additional option for voluntary prepayment. It is, since 2017, it was actually a newer addition that's been allowed for bylaws. You could pay any sort of ticket, or if you do it ahead of time at the municipal office, instead of going through the provincial offences court, at a reduced rate, because if you pay at the POA, we owe them some monetary fines and things like that, or monetary things. And the other one, we have had conversations with the owner of the Purple Hill Country Music Hall, and he is aware, but we are proposing no parking along Purple Hill Road for 100 meters north of the main entrance, and 140 meters south of the main entrance. This is to do with safety for those entering and exiting the building or the venue on both sides of the road. Again, this is all just our proposals, and we're open for comments to you guys, any questions, because at this point, once we get a draft, we would like to send it off to the Ministry of Attorney General to ensure that they're comfortable with our wording, which would speed up the set fines in the long run, so we're not waiting 6 months or having to come back to you guys with a few amendments if they don't agree with all of our wording. So I'm not sure if you have any questions. Both the Director of Public Works and I are here to answer any if you do.
Are there any questions from the members of council to either Councillor Crockett?
Through you, your worship, not a question per se, but I just want to say thank you for taking a look at this. I know earlier this year when we handed out some flyers, there was some immediate response to the fact that folks can't park overnight during the summer months. So I'm glad to see that that's been looked at and drafted to be revised. So thank you for taking the time to take a look at this.
Thanks, Councillor Crockett. Any other comments? Councillor Heeman?
Yes, I was just wondering if we had any feedback from Purple Hill with the proposed changes.
Through the mayor, thank you, Councillor Heeman, for the question. So I spoke with Mr. Taylor directly. He's very familiar and aware and supportive of the rationale for the no parking out in front of his property with respect to safety for pedestrians coming back and forth and parking on both sides, particularly in large events like the rodeo. So yeah, he's well aware and indicated support. He knows that council is considering this evening as well, and he didn't offer any objections, rather support from a safety perspective.
Yeah, I know it can be frustrating doing crowd control at large events and people park where they choose. So, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Heeman. Anything else from council? All right, then, in that case, then do I have a mover and a seconder for the recommended motion that report number excuse me, LS-C-004-24 be received for information? Councillor Heeman and Deputy Mayor Smybert. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Barrick,
Thank you,
whenever
Mayor.
you're ready.
Appreciate everyone's patience as we work through those technical issues. In the meantime, the report at hand is the volunteer appreciation event, which is will mark the 15th year that Thames Center will be hosting a volunteer appreciation event. As you are well aware, volunteers are a critical part of any community and community building, and the fact that this appreciation event has been going on for upwards of 15 years now demonstrates that commitment of support for one another in the community. The report that you have before you is really seeking council approval on not only the event itself, but as well the date and time. Typically, it is a drop-in breakfast served by council. And so your feedback on this is critical for us from a staff perspective. The proposal is Monday, April 15th. I believe that's a council meeting date as well. And so that's a date that seems to line up quite well for a variety of reasons. Proposed to be hosted at the auditorium at the Thorndale Alliance Community Center, just given the renovation expansion as well, being held at the Flight Exec Center. I do know that the breakfast was held in Thorndale last year. And so this year, National Volunteer Appreciation Week is also the week, April 14th to 20th. So the report is before you for your consideration. Any questions, we'll do our best to respond.
Thanks, Mr. Barrick. Any questions or comments from council? Yes, Deputy Mayor Smybert.
Just a comment. I think that this is a really great event. I think for the price this is worth showing our recognition and appreciation to all of those special volunteers that we have in Thames Center. So I think the date is good, and I would recommend, or I would support the recommendation that's included in the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with a comment? Councillor Heeman.
In days gone by, before we were alternating, people always wanted to have the volunteer breakfast in Thorndale. Now they're getting more than their fair share. So I think we'd be glad to host them in Thorndale. And I think we equally would be glad to return to Dorchester to the new facility and get back to alternating.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So the public can look forward to being served by council in more ways than one now. Okay. So a mover and a seconder that the council host the annual volunteer appreciation event offering a drop-in breakfast to be served by council from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Monday, April the 15th, 2024 in the auditorium at the Thorndale Lions Community Center. A mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Heeman and seconded by Councillor Lockie. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 10 is reports of committees. Items listed under the reports of committees are approved by council in one motion. Council members may request that one or more items be separated for further action. If there is none from your agenda and your reading of it, if we could have a mover and a seconder. So we're looking to approve it as presented. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Smybert and seconded by Councillor Lockie. All in favor? Okay, that carries. Thank you. Okay, guess we will be moving on now to the mayor's report and county council report. I'm sorry, did I miss something?
Yeah, I felt if it's possible to comment on the committee business.
Certainly.
Yeah, I think, we have a lot of recommendations coming from our environmental advisory committee. And I think it's a testament to just the level of cohesiveness that the committee has developed in this short period of time. And also, a high level of agreement on the importance of environment and climate initiatives at this time. And so I think that these recommendations are reflected by that. And I just want to thank the rest of council for supporting them also.
Thanks for your comments. Any other comments before we move on then? Okay, mayor's report. January was a busy month as we got back into the swing of things following the Christmas break. As part of my work as both a mayor and a county councillor, I attended several meetings with members of the public, as well as meetings of county council, library advisory board, Kettle Creek Conservation Authority, South Central Ontario Region Economic Development Board, and was pleased to be present to help with ribbon cutting and grand opening of Pizza Hut, another new company joining our business community here in Thames Center. Also, CAO Barrick and I attended the Rural Ontario Municipal Conference, otherwise known as ROMA, in Toronto, January 21st to 23rd, where we had the opportunity to meet and interact with colleagues from other municipalities around the province, sharing both ideas and concerns. However, the greatest reason for being there is the opportunity to have a 15-minute face-to-face meeting with provincial ministers and their members of staff to bring to their attention certain identified needs within Thames Centre. One is never guaranteed the specific outcome, but nonetheless, we've all value the opportunity to meet and present our case. We look forward to any positive results that might come our way. Excuse me. As we continued into February, I was pleased to meet with both our fire halls. This past Monday, Councillor Heeman and CAO Barrick and I stopped in to tour the Thorndale Fire Station and have an opportunity to meet the volunteers there, along with some of the very eager recruits for that station. Then Tuesday evening, we did the same thing in Dorchester, this time with CAO Barrick and Councillor Danielle Lockie. It was a great opportunity to meet these men and women who do so much for our municipality in their attempts to keep it safe in emergency situations. This past Wednesday, our planning staff, along with Deputy Mayor Michelle Smybert, Councillor Tom Heeman, and I attended the most recent public information and consultation session in Thorndale regarding the proposed condo development. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Condo development there. From my point of view, these opportunities to interact with our residents concerning planning and other issues important to the municipality are going well, as they give the citizens a chance to see what is planned and have an opportunity to meet and ask questions of staff and the developer. So in terms of that report, that is it. I do not believe there is any unfinished business. And no notices of motion and no new business. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 15 for the bylaws. A mover and a seconder that bylaws 11-2024 through 15-2024 be adopted as presented. Councillor Heeman and Deputy Mayor Smybert. All in favor? Okay, that's great. At this time, council will be moving into closed session. So I'm looking for a mover and a seconder that council adjourn to closed session at 5:27 p.m. pursuant to section 2392F of the Municipal Act. Being advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose with respect to a request to amend a condition of consent. A mover and a seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Smybert and seconded by Councillor Crockett. So we're back in open session, and during closed session, council discussed advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose with respect to a request to amend a condition of consent. And then I will ask at this time that the clerk read the motion and ask for a mover and a seconder. Go ahead.
That condition 2 of application for consent B1823 for lands municipally known as 1263 Harrietsville Drive and 5824 Dorchester Road be amended by deleting it in its entirety and replacing it with the following. 2.1, that the applicant's solicitor provide their personal undertaking to pay all applicable property taxes, municipal fees, and charges owing on the property municipally identified as 5824 Dorchester Road and 1263 Harrietsville Drive to the municipality from the proceeds of the sale of 5824 Dorchester Road. The applicant's solicitor shall further provide their personal undertaking to provide to the municipality proof of transfer and proof of payment of the outstanding property taxes, municipal fees, and charges within 10 days of issuance of the consent certificate. If proof of transfer payment is not provided within 10 days of issuance of the consent certificate, the applicant's solicitor further undertakes to forthwith apply in writing to the municipality for the issuance of a certificate of cancellation of the consent certificate. 2.2, that the applicant compensate the municipality for all legal costs incurred to the Middlesex County Barristers and Solicitors Office in resolving the Shackleton severance, proceeds, and tax matter. And that no further notice be required pursuant to Section 53(26) of the Planning Act.
Thank you. Anyone, a mover and a seconder? Councillor Heeman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Smybert. All in favor? And that motion carries. Thank you. So moving on to the confirmatory bylaw. Being a bylaw to adopt, bylaw 15-2024 confirmatory bylaw, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution of the municipality of Thames Centre. A mover and a seconder. Deputy Mayor Smybert and Councillor Lockie. All in favor? Thank you. That carries. Just a reminder that the next meeting will be Monday, February the 26th, here in the chambers at 5 p.m. and followed by Monday, March the 11th, 2024 at 5 p.m. also here in the council chambers. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a mover and a seconder to adjourn tonight's meeting. Councillor Crockett and seconded by Danielle Lockie. All in favor? That motion carries. Thank you very much.